A Sapphire Running Zone podcast.
Hi everyone, this is Tim from the Sapphire Running Zone, and this is another in our podcast series where we talk to fundraising managers from charities who love to run and who love to fundraise. And today, really pleased to welcome Charlotte. And Charlotte's done lots of running and interestingly, not lots of events. We're going to have a little chat later about you don't need to do events if you love your running. Charlotte, welcome. Tell us where you work and give us a summary of your running so far.
Thanks so much for having me, Tim. I'm Charlotte. I work for VICTA, a charity that is national and supports blind and partially sighted young people. My running really started from a young age. Cross country turned into competing in athletics as a child. And just always loved running, heading out, rain, shine, in the dark, in the day. I found it really useful when I was studying as well at university to just stretch my legs and freshen up and feel rejuvenated again. Like you said, I've actually never competed in events, but I think they're amazing. So this might be my year for medals. We'll see. But I ran a half marathon with my brother as part of his London Marathon training last year, and I joined a run club a couple of years ago. So started running 10K on a Wednesday and 5K on a Saturday, and absolutely love running and chatting with people and the running community really.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? This whole running event situation. A lot of people feel under pressure, I think, to do a running event, whether it be a 5K, a 10 and a half, or a full, whatever it might be. And you don't have to. I mean, running is an amazing lifestyle choice. It's got so many physical and mental health benefits, which, you've touched on there. And it's just a great leveler. So I think for people out there who are running regularly and enjoying it, don't feel compelled to do an event if you don't want to. If you want a target, then you could look at a virtual event potentially, but you don't have to drive to an event or stay overnight and be in a big crowd if you don't particularly want to. How have you found having a goal and having a target when you've not got a physical event coming up? How have you dealt with that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think for me, my target is just always to get out in nature and enjoy it. With Strava and apps that record, your pace, you can sort of say, oh, maybe today I'm feeling really great. I might push a little bit harder. I am a big fan of music. So sometimes I'll put one song on a loop and then just consistently run to that song so that the beats are exactly the same. So for me, I don't think I put pressure on myself because I know that's really how people get injured and how they fall out of love of running. But if I'm running consistently, you do just see those improvements, whether it's just 10 seconds or 20 seconds. So I wouldn't say I'm a goal oriented runner necessarily, but I think if you keep having the goal to enjoy it, then it's just great anyway. So I look forward to running with people because I can catch up with them, talk about what they've been up to, how their week's been. Sometimes when you're feeling a bit groggy and you go on a run, that in itself is like a massive achievement for me because I can come home and make a cup of tea, have some chocolate and feel great.
And do you have a training plan as such, or you just get the principles of, you run, you rest, you know what it is you're doing, but do you follow a specific plan?
I don't at the moment. If I was to enter in a half marathon or a marathon, 100% I would want to be following a plan. I think it's really important not to increase your mileage, too quickly. So no more than 5-10% per week. Just you're putting too much stress on your body, really. So if I was to enter in a sort of longer distance events, I would like to follow a training plan. But for me, at the moment, it's just go out, enjoy running, really.
And you mentioned before that you run with other people. How many of your runs would you say are with others, and how many in your own? And what benefits have you found from running with others?
Running at a conversational pace is the biggest benefit for me as quite a competitive person. You can just go out too fast and yeah, really I think running can be a great release. But I think just with my like history of sprinting or just loving that feeling of like zooming around really, it can be too much on the body. We are quite sedentary in our office jobs. You know, you don't know if the body's really ready for that sometimes. So I think the biggest benefit of running with people is that I don't have to think about pace because someone else is pacing in larger groups of running clubs. I can just show up and enjoy it and know that I'll feel absolutely fine the next day because I haven't really overexerted myself. I've just, run the distance and chatted all along.
And what do you do during the week then? Is it like a couple of runs on your own, a couple with others?
Yeah, so I recently just moved, so I'm on the hunt for a new running club. But I would say with the club, it would be most of my runs. So say I was going out 3 times a week, two of my runs would be with people. The running community is just so friendly and so supportive. It's yeah, you want to, know the best maybe physio in the area, or you want somewhere to go for a sports massage. People just have a lot of great tips and are really open about sharing where they got the trainers from or what socks they use. And I just think there is just a real benefit as well. Every Saturday, the run club will finish at a coffee shop. So it's quite nice to sit and have a coffee or a drink or even just a glass of water and chat to people. So the social side, as someone who's quite extroverted, is really lovely as well.
How did you find the transition then from the sort of athletics world of the shorter distances into the sort of 5, 10, half marathon world then? How did you go about that? Did you go straight to a club or did you just work it out yourself as to what you needed to do?
I would say for for athletics, again, it was still quite fun. I don't think my school was very focused on gaining medals and winning. It was all about have the best Wednesday afternoon, show up and compete. So yeah, I was doing shorter distances, yeah, like 800 meters or in the relay. When I moved up north to Manchester, there wasn't athletics, different schools in the south. Yeah, we're focused on athletics. I'm partially sighted, so I don't have sight in one of my eyes. And actually, up in the northwest, netball is absolutely massively popular, and that's a sport that just doesn't work for me. I don't want to get a ball whacked in my head. So yeah, I was never a big netballer. So for me, I really just turned to the gym and yeah, at 16 and sort of a mixture between gym and going out and running by myself. And it was only when I went to university that I then met other people who liked running. I would head to the gym with them, or we would maybe go out. Yeah, I would run on the treadmill with them and kind of motivate them along. I would say it's only really recently that I've started running with people. So the transition for me was just finding a way to stay active and doing what I love.
So you've done plenty of miles in training, then you've done plenty of distance stuff. What ultimately is your ambition when it comes to? I mean, I know you work very closely with the London Marathon on your running team. So is that something that ultimately you'd like to do?
Yes, I would love to run the London Marathon. My colleagues have been running the last couple of years, so I've joined the short straw. But I fingers crossed, 2027 is my year. It might be a bit cheeky to say, but both my brother and my dad have run the London Marathon, so I suppose there is a tiny goal that I'd like to complete it just a little bit faster than both of them. It's really for me just to enjoy the race and complete it and be part of maybe a little bit of a family tradition.
Now, just looking at the team that you've put together every year at Victor, what would you say were people's motivations, not just running for you as a charity, but why they want to run a marathon and that one in particular? Is it sort of a bucket list item, or is it because they want to raise money for the charity? I presume there's a huge variety of reasons.
A massive variety of reasons, and I absolutely love, yeah, having that initial chat with runners just to welcome them to the team and also just to hear more about their running journeys. I find it so interesting. There's a massive mix. A lot of people, the cause of supporting vision impaired young people is really close to their heart, whether it's a family member or a friend's child that's currently being supported by us, or yeah, a childhood friend. But I would say if the motivation is that running as well as giving back to a good cause, there's such a variety. I think with the pandemic, when gyms closed, people turned to running as a way to, yeah, feel, yeah, for well-being, for exercise. So I think what we have now is people who've now been running for maybe 5 years consistently, even if it's just they go out once a week or a couple of times a month. And now they sort of want to take on, yeah, a bigger challenge and have a medal. I love hearing about stories when people have, yeah, just completely shifted their life up from maybe they have a health scare, going to the doctors and finding out maybe they have, yeah, weight to lose, or a health goal that they really need to shift. So we have a lot of runners who've, yeah, lost stones, a lot of weight, and now yeah, they're really changing their life into something quite positive, from not being able to run more than 100 meters without stopping to running the London Marathon a few years later. So yeah, it's such a variety of reasons. You've also got people who maybe they've gone through a breakup or a bereavement, and they've turned to running to really support them on that next phase and chapter in their life. And I think it's always amazing when you can think of yourself and also think of others when you're running.
Yeah, absolutely right. I did a really good podcast a couple of days ago with a lady called Emma Moore from Wales Air Ambulance Charity, where she talks about not worrying about pace. She was quite comfortable being a back of the pack runner, and actually just being focused on why you're there and enjoying it and not being too stressed about time. Obviously, some people want a fast time, and that's fantastic. But I think a lot of people get overly stressed by, oh my God, am I going to be towards the back? How long is it going to take? It doesn't matter. You'll have, particularly for something like London or one of the other big marathons, it's okay. You can be, well, any race, you can be at the back and don't be stressed about where you finish. Now, I presume, like a lot of charities, you'll have runners like that as well.
I think you get, I always joke about getting more bang for your buck. Like you've got the registration fee, you're gonna have 7 hours to enjoy the day if you're someone who's gonna walk and run it, which is absolutely amazing. You can just really take in the day, and I think as soon as you start telling people your planned finishing time just in numerical values, you've taken away almost your enjoyment of not knowing. And yeah, you're running the race for you and for others. So I absolutely love hearing about, the day for us slower runners, because they just have the best stories to tell, whether they've stopped and helped someone who is limping and they've, walked with them for a couple of the kilometers, or yeah, they're just able to chat to their loved ones. Yeah, I think pushing for a certain time, especially when it's your first marathon, just takes away the enjoyment of the day, because it's a personal best however fast you run it, if you've never run it before.
Yeah, I think my metric for an event like that should be how much you've raised, not how long it took you. I think that's the most important thing to worry about. Let's talk a little bit more about fundraising then. Just tell us your personal experiences of fundraising, and then we'll have a chat about some examples of successes that you've seen in your time at VICTA. So let's talk about yourself. What have you done in the fundraising space?
In sixth form, we had a fundraiser to go on a program that was like youth development. I also fundraised through NCS The Challenge, which is a national youth program, and absolutely loved that as an experience. And went on to work for them later one summer while I was at university. But I would say the big, you know, falling in love with fundraising was when I was at university. I was part of a society, and we fundraised for children's programs through running events. So we ran. I love poetry and reading. So we ran a poetry and vinyl sort of DJ night, and we ran a couple of them each year, which was absolutely phenomenal. And ticket sales would raise so much money, and then people would also donate more on the night. So it was just always a fantastic way to get all our friends together and meet new people at university, but also, yeah, fundraise.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? We talk about, I mean, events are a great way to fundraise, and we've talked to a lot of people that have done it on their own, and we've talked to others that have done it with a friend. There is a benefit, isn't there, in doing it with others, particularly if you're running London or any other race where you need to raise a lot of money. It can be quite a lot of pressure if you put an event on your own. But if you've got a mate who's running the race with you and the two of you do it, then you might have different skill sets, different networks potentially. So there's a lot to be said, isn't there, with doing an event with other people?
Definitely. I've also volunteered at many of my friends' supper clubs that are fundraisers. And yeah, friends are always happy to get involved. Um, just turning up on the night and being a waiter or, yeah, spreading the word. Your friends are the people who are happy to be there, but also to help on the day. So having someone close to you that's happy to help is always, yeah, a bonus with fundraising events.
So let's look at the VICTA runners over, let's say, the last 3 years. Then, what examples have you got of really successful fundraising campaigns? Some raise a lot more than others, obviously, and sometimes somebody might just stumble upon something that's unbelievably successful, mightn't they? What have you seen that you would say to other fundraisers out there that haven't really got started at the moment? Give us some examples.
Yeah, Team Victor is absolutely brilliant. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but I've seen some, yeah, amazing, amazing fundraisers over the year. And I actually speak to our successful fundraisers every week, and I post a blog on Victor Stories on our website. So anyone can go and access those blogs to hear about different fundraising ideas if they are stuck. Everything from selling items, unwanted items on Vinted, Facebook Marketplace. Had someone recently who organized a meat raffle. So they went to the local butchers and then auctioned off like meat for or raffled off meat for a roast dinner. I would say that fundraising events are key to a massive amount of your fundraising target being raised just in one evening. They do require a lot of organization. If that's you, if you love to organize things and bring people together, I always say the best fundraiser is what you love to do turned into a fundraiser. So if you're a massive fan of like curry, do a massive takeaway night, invite your local community together, go to a village hall and charge entry. We've had a fundraiser up in Scotland where it's really popular in North Aberdeenshire, do a soup and sweet evening, which is just soup and yeah, cake. And everyone comes along and really enjoys it. So there's so many different ways to fundraise, but I would say the best approach is always doing what you love to do. We've had run clubs, had yeah, like a fancy dress run club. Everyone runs in an outfit. We've had sports day fundraisers. One of the most moving, successful fundraisers I had actually was one of our fundraisers went viral after race day because I think about mile 9, he was struggling a little bit with like his hip, and another lady was struggling with her knee, and he walked with her for 5 miles and just kept talking to her and said, you're going to cross the finishing line. And then she met up with her family and they just at the very end, I think mile 21. So they had the last couple of miles separated, but then she did a Facebook call out saying, "I need to find this man, this gentleman who made my London Marathon experience and actually helped me cross the finishing line." And his page went viral through the kindness that he shared with others. But yeah, there's just so many successful fundraisers. I think people who really understand that, you know, getting together family and friends is brilliant, getting your workplace involved is amazing, and getting the community involved around you and bringing all those three together is the best way to fundraise, I would say. So don't just focus on like maybe one of your networks if you want to really reach your goal with these.
How many of your fundraisers would you say just put a link to their fundraising page online and rely on friends and family? They keep posting the link. I mean, that's all right to raise £200 or £300 if you're doing a local half marathon with your own entry, but raising a couple of grand is a big ask just doing that, isn't it? You've got to be a little bit cleverer.
Yeah, I would say maybe less than 10%. Like it's a real small proportion of our runners that just, unless, yeah, just go out to family and friends and then network just by posting. Unless they make it interesting, I always say people love to win something, however naff it is. And you just say everyone's going to be entered into a prize pool to win this. You know your network the best. So if it's like a case of beer, a bottle of wine, yeah, a food hamper, loads of chocolate, whatever works for them, then that tends to work really well. Just going out to your network on social media, as long as they get to like win something. I think the scratch cards you can get from Amazon are really great ways of getting people involved digitally as well, because they can enter really easily and potentially win something as well.
There's so many people that do incredibly well, and generally speaking, it's those that really do put their heart and soul into it, isn't it? And really make an effort. If you've got tens of thousands of followers and just posting a link to your fundraising page may be it, but generally speaking, you have to do a little bit more. How important do you think the cause is to your fundraising success? Because obviously people have got a choice where they apply, what charity they apply for a spot in one of these big events. How important do you think choosing the right charity is?
If you choose the right charity, it will be a life-changing experience because you know you know who you're running for, you know the impact that you're making, and when you cross that finishing line, you know you've taken on such a massive achievement, and helped so many people, or helped the cause in such a meaningful way. I think there's a lot of use of AI in applications, and as someone who works in, yeah, the charity side of things, I would just avoid doing that at all costs because there's no way to show you're not committed. Yeah, having the same application as, yeah, 50 other people who've applied that day because ChatGPT doesn't doesn't differentiate. I would say finding the right cause is everything because you're taking on such a challenge, and you have that medal for life, so you always want to have that cause close to your heart, really.
Yeah, I think AI can definitely play a role in your fundraising, but using it for your initial application to a charity isn't the way forward. I think it became an issue this year more than it ever has before. And I think most charities will be using some kind of software to spot applications going forward, won't they, for sure? How important do you think it is for a runner to be a first timer when it comes to their fundraising? Because obviously, if you're doing a race every year and you're having to go to the same people, then your potential fundraising target can become more of a challenge. Is the Victor team generally made up of first timers who have not fundraised much?
Yes, so we have a returners runners program at Victor just because we were one of the first charities to ever be involved with the London Marathon. And so we have people who've been running for us since the 80s and taking on those milestone birthdays. So we do have like returning runners as like I guess a big part of our team. I would say it's only about, yeah, 15 to 20% though. So 80% of our team are definitely new to us. They might be first timers. I would say for first timers, the first thing I do when I chat to someone is say, how are you feeling about the training and how are you feeling about the fundraising? So people tend to vary on terms of like, they might be at 10 out of 10 for how they feel about training. They've been using, yeah, they've been training consistency. They have a community of people that they run with regularly. They have people who've run the London Marathon before, and they just feel really supported on that side of things. And then obviously we offer support as well. And then the fundraising, they might feel like really, really great, or they might feel completely nervous, which is understandable. You do have a target. So we can just break that down into different milestones or different ideas in that initial call. I think it's really normal to think, wow, I'm doing this like huge thing and I'm fundraising at the same time. So usually, yeah, I ask people how they're feeling about it, and then just talking it through can also be the first step. One of the first things I recommend is everyone getting pen to paper, or just using the notes app on their phone, and writing down a list of everyone they know and how much they think they will donate, just to get a figure in their heads. because you could know 100 people, but they could all be in couples, and then that's actually just 50 people who are going to donate to your page. So it's always just a really good idea to just visually see how much you could get organically from people asking, and people that are really close to you, and then how much you really need to organize to reach the goal.
And you obviously want them to start as early as they possibly can with the fundraising, don't you?
Ideally, but only because I think it's really not nice to be running 18 miles and have feeling that exhaustion, and then also having the pressure of fundraising at the same time. So I think as charities, it's just also better for your well-being to focus on fundraising, and then when the training gets tough, you're in a really great place with your fundraising, and you've only got to focus on one thing at once.
Yeah, I think it's so important. There's nothing worse than being on the start line, still stressing about your fundraising. Is that you need that done and dusted, and you can enjoy the running side of things.
Yeah, what I tell to people is that only 5 to 10% comes in after race day. So you do really want to be in that sort of 90% at least of your target, just so you can really celebrate your achievement. Crossing the finish line is sort of, the completion of that amazing journey.
Well, I don't think you're going to have too many problems when you take on London in 2027, are you, with your fundraising?
I really hope I can join the team, or definitely run in 2027. I have a few ideas of what I'd really love to do. For me, I love reading. I run a book club. But I think definitely I'm also a massive herbal tea fan. So there might be a tea party fundraiser coming. But yeah, I have a few ideas to really make it fun, which is what I recommend for anyone who's fundraising. Make it fun, and you'll enjoy the process.
Fantastic. Some great ideas there. I really appreciate you coming on, Charlotte, and look forward to having another catch up nearer the big day.
Okay, amazing. I'll look forward to speaking to you then. Thanks so much for having me, Tim.
Thanks for listening to this Sapphire Running Zone podcast. Keep checking back as we have lots more podcasts coming soon.